Mallett and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett, who's looking at me because I'm moving my microphone.
Don't touch the microphone.
I can't help it.
You can't touch the microphone.
Help it. Do you know that Steve says that my cup of noodles lack any basic nutritional requirements, yet he bitches when I staple the bag of M&M's shut?
That's true. Oh, and Michelle Lewis, who cooks for 50 when she has 20 people coming over.
I have a fear of not having enough food.
You are still bringing in leftovers from Kendall's shower like a week and a half ago.
It's awesome. Well, but you're benefiting because they're like
true.
Hershey Kisses and stuff.
Yeah, I thought those, what are they, cake, birthday cake?
Oh, birthday
Hershey's
cake, Hershey Kisses.
I thought those were disgusting until I had one.
You know what I do that's unique that most people don't do, because, and I'm a party judger. Like I make
I'm a party judger.
I make most of my own food. Now I'll buy like carrots or cut up carrots or whatever. I won't trim my own carrots.
Yeah.
I'm not a carrot trimmer, but. Oh, you're touching my microphone.
I'm touching your mic. You have it too close to your face.
Microphone. I think this is my bubble, my personal microphone bubble.
Are you one of those that buys food from H-E-B already made or cooked or cut up and puts it on a fancy plate and tries to take credit for it?
You know what was funny? Funny you should say that. So when my mother died, people used to, like before that, they're like, oh, and your mother, her famous potato salad. And I gave the eulogy at my mom's funeral, and I was like, oh, and by the way, that famous potato salad is H-E-B mustard potato salad. She would just stick it in her own. So, yeah, that's probably why I don't, because my mom was a liar.
Oh, well, there you go.
Potato salad liar.
Yeah. Every time I've ever been to your house for something that involves food, there's so much freaking food.
Because I like food. It's surprising I don't weigh 400 or 500 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm going to get stuck in between the toilet and the wall one day. I got to call a fire department.
Have you seen any monarch butterflies flying around yet?
Well, we have a plethora of flowers in our backyard.
A
plethora. Is that a real word? Or
That's a real word.
Okay. Didn't know, because sometimes I just
I think you used it right, too.
True. Thank you. I've been seeing a lot of butterflies, especially on our wisteria, that are blooming like crazy.
Oh.
So, yeah, I have seen some butterflies.
Monarch butterflies are the state insect. I didn't even know we had such a thing.
Butterflies are insects? I mean, I
yes,
guess that's
yeah.
I thought they were like named something else.
June 1995, they were declared the state insect, and you probably know that when we see them around here, they're actually migrating. Did you know that?
Well, the Mexican monarchs.
Well, they're all Mexican monarchs because they all come from Mexico. Here's what they
wait. I think. What if you're born in the United States? Are you an American butterfly?
I have no idea. That's probably a question for some customs agent. So they migrate in the winter. They go down to Mexico.
They vacation
in Mexico.
They're winter Mexicans.
That's right. That's right.
Texans.
Snowbirds. Okay. And then in the spring, which is right now, they're heading up north and they go all the way to Canada. It's a 3,000-mile migration.
Oh, I did not know that.
And they lay eggs along the way. So milkweed. Did you know they eat milkweed?
I don't know what milkweed is.
It's this. It's indigenous plant. It's native to Texas.
Oh, it's a weed, right?
It's a weed, yeah. And most people don't want them in their yard or their garden, but that's what the butterflies live off of. And milkweed, when they eat the milkweed, it has a poison in it that makes the monarch butterfly taste nasty to birds and predators. So that's why they don't get eaten.
Oh.
So I learn something new every day. And that trip from Mexico to Canada takes them several months. So basically it sounds like they leave Mexico in the early spring, they fly up to Canada for like a month, and then they turn around and head back to Mexico.
Unless they meet the untimely windshield of
yeah, that's
some
right.
RV.
That's right.
What about those moths or whatever that like come in every year? Maybe they're coming in from Mexico also. Maybe that's like the redheaded stepchildren of the monarch butterfly.
I guess so, yeah.
Because I thought maybe that's just down in the valley where you'd get all these moths and they just were yucky.
I don't know. Don't know anything about moths.
Well, maybe why don't you read up on that next time?
Yes, I should. Yeah, I just read up on monarchs this time.
Oh, so I know that Wimberley has a butterfly festival. Have you ever been to a butterfly festival?
I think it's
supposed to. I think it's this month sometime.
It is, yeah. It's sometime in April.
But I don't think they've had it the last couple of years because of COVID. But that's really cool. And then if you go to the Ladybird Wildflower Center, they have like a little butterfly enclosure that you walk in. And
yeah, I found a list of plants that you can plant in your yard to bring the butterflies. So goldenrods, frostweeds, asters, sunflowers, obviously, and purple coneflowers. Do you know what any of those are?
I heard ass, weed, and cone.
That's it. If you plant those in your yard, you'll get monarch butterflies.
They get the munchies later and they eat all the milkweed.
That's right. Did you hear that there's some roads going to be, a lot of roads in Hays County going to be improved here coming up, but there's two that are going to impact Dripping Springs quite a bit.
I have a couple that I need to write a list down that they need. And some of these parking lots around here, I know that's private property, but that's neither here nor there because that's a me problem.
I just noticed, I'm sure everybody noticed the TxDOT just fixed 290 all the way through the center of town.
So I thought it was already fixed.
And then they ripped it up and did it again. I didn't know there was anything wrong with what they put down. Maybe somebody can let us know about that. But, you know where we do the Run by the Creek on Creek Road. And you know that bridge, there's a water crossing you don't know how far, about a mile into the race. There's a water crossing, beautiful, where the water's on both sides. They're going to redo that bridge. They got a $1.6 million, budget.
Is that TxDOT that's doing that?
That's TxDOT. So I think what they're going to do is leave the bridge open, build a new bridge next to it, and then when the new bridge is done, they're going to get rid of that old bridge.
I'm curious, because I've been on 1826 a lot over the last couple of weeks, how they are going to widen that road. Because that road, look, I've lived here a long time, and that road was dangerous when there was no cars.
It's terrible right now.
It is terrible. Scary. Like, what is it called now? Bursanadom? I don't think it's called Bursanadom. Whoever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you know where I'm talking about, right? Over there by Texas Village or whatever. That is a really tight area, and they just built that new neighborhood. Was it Sky Ridge?
Oh, yeah.
Parton.
I think it is Sky Ridge.
Yeah, it's tight over there, and it's some blind curves.
People are driving 70 miles an hour on a road that's probably not even safe at 55.
That is scary. Because you're talking about the roads, I found something that I thought was pretty funny. We were talking about Nutty Brown a couple of weeks ago. I read an article that said that the Round Rock residents are complaining of the new Nutty Brown amphitheater, which is called
hilarious.
The Round Rock Amp, because they're complaining about bass heavy acts like Cody Jinks, which is a Texas country singer, and Snoop Dogg. During Snoop Dogg, they had 58 calls complaining about you know what?
It's it's not an outdoor amphitheater, right?
I
think it's all indoors.
Is it really?
Yeah, I don't think it's outside.
I haven't been, but I think it's kind of funny.
I think the lesson here is no matter where there's live music, somebody's going to complain.
Yeah, I remember Nutty Brown being there for such a long time, and then they built that other side of Belterra, and people were complaining about it.
Yeah, there weren't many complaints up before then. But the other road that's going to be improved a lot is 150 from where it crosses Onion Creek.
Darden Hill?
So that would be a little bit east of Darden Hill.
Oh, where they put the four-way stop in? It's like they just put a four-way stop and then...
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't been on that yet.
The old post office is right there, the Driftwood post office.
On 150?
Is that 150?
Oh, it's not. No, it's not down that far.
Oh.
It's where about halfway between where 1826 runs into 150 and Ranch Road 12, there's a place where you cross Onion Creek.
Oh.
And from there all the way to just a little bit before you get onto Ranch Road 12, they're going to expand the road and put in a turn lane.
I'm a landmark person. So if you say, that old boat that's been sitting there.
Yeah. So you know where the dump is?
Yes, I know where the dump is.
So right around there is where it's going to start, and it's going to go all the way to...
I think that's Darden Hill.
It is... No, well, that's Darden Hill is in that area.
Okay.
But it's 150 that's being improved.
Field trip.
Yes. And so then they're going to widen it and put a turn lane in all the way down to where the entrance is to Howard Ranch, where it has that kind of covered bridge looking thing.
And the brewery that
Twisted X.
Twisted X.
Somewhere around in there.
So do they think that's going to alleviate some of the traffic off 290 or down 12?
Well, I think both, but I think the other thing is that it's going to make that section a lot less dangerous because you've got neighborhoods pulling in and out. You've even got driveways. There's a lot of traffic going in and out, and there's people driving crazy speeds.
I used to go the back way sometimes coming to work, and I would hit that Darden Hill 12, blah, blah, blah. And I stopped doing it because it would take 30 minutes to get out of 12 right there, or cut through Home Depot. And then
Yeah. Well, they're talking about a roundabout where 150 and 12 come together, but there's some people fighting that. I think he can email us if he wants to. Eric Howard. I think Eric Howard's fighting that because it takes away part of his land where those cottages are.
I just don't see how 12 is going to sustain that little intersection right there. 12 and 290 is going to sustain the growth that we have here in Dripping Springs right now. So Walgreens used to be a funeral home,
Used to be a funeral home.
Okay.
I remember when they tore that down. Behind the funeral home was an Exxon station.
So I don't understand why they didn't have the foresight to see, like, put a turning lane.
Back when that happened.
A turning lane.
Yeah, back when that happened, though, I don't think anybody could foresee the growth that we've had here in Dripping Springs.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, because you're right. You come up from past Calaterra and it's wide there. You got a turn lane, and all of a sudden, right there, just south of by the YMCA, it goes down to 2 lanes again, and it constricts, and nobody can get through there. You can go around. What was that? Rob Shelton, around by HEB, but it's still backed up every day.
Well, people just experience the heaviest traffic the new people that are coming into Dripping Springs, they are probably wondering what the heck just happened this past weekend with Founders, because they don't know that Dripping Founders closed. So it's...
Yep. Holly said Friday, she said, it's going to take me a while to get home tonight, because she comes in from Austin, and there's just tons of people driving in from Austin to go to Founders Day for the parade.
Well, then you're driving, and all of a sudden, boop, here pops a parade float out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you hear that there's a new food trailer going in over in Driftwood at it's at a winery.
Do they have cup of noodles?
No. It's a wild game dinner focused food trailer. It's called Lo Savaje or Lo Savaje, which is Spanish for the wild. And where is that? I was trying to see where it's at one of the...
Why can't we get a poke bowl trailer, like sushi?
I don't know.
I don't know. Would you buy raw fish out of a trailer?
Heck no. Especially 200 miles from the ocean. Desert Door Distillery.
Oh, okay. That's right off of Darden Hill.
Is it off of Darden Hill?
I think it is. It's either Darden Hill or 150. I'm so bad about... Well, I just know you're lucky I know how to get home.
I bet you sometimes you don't, do you?
You know what? So we have that listing over here off of 12 in the neighborhood, Barton. What is that?
Barton Creek Ranch.
Okay, I want to admit something.
You got lost in there.
Every flipping time I get in there.
How can you get lost? It's a circle.
Well, there's like these little cul-de-sacs. And this morning I got lost again, and Todd called me and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to get out of this freaking neighborhood, and I have to use my GPS every time."
I'm 59 years old, but Michelle, there's this thing called Apple Maps. Have you heard of that?
I do. I use it, but I'm like, I'm going to do it this time. I can get out. And there was this guy walking his dog, and I'm like, "Hi." And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, "Hi."
He thinks you were stalking him.
I know. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, are you done?
I didn't finish my story.
Talk about your
So this Lo Savaje is going to have wild game, and some of the stuff they're going to have is nilgai antelope and bacon patties, like a hamburger made with nilgai, which I don't even know. You should pull up a picture of that, because I don't even know what a nilgai is.
How do you spell nilgai?
Nilgai antelope. They're going to have fried quail sandwiches, and something we talked about, I think last week, wild boar chorizo.
Would you eat
There's
anything?
a nail guy. That thing's gigantic.
He doesn't look very tasty to me.
It looks like a cow with horn. Well, cows have horns.
Please send all complaints to Mallett and Michelle at gmail.com.
Attention, Michelle. Anyway, that's supposed to be opening up. Oh, actually, I did have the Josh Crumpton and Jesse Griffith are the owners of it, and the chef is Stephanie Stackhouse. And we know another Stackhouse, Brian Stackhouse, who's a home inspector here in Dripping Springs. Great guy. And I'm wondering if Stephanie is related to Brian.
Let's get them on. Let's get these people on.
But if you know them, Stephanie mostly, and you know if she is or is not related to Brian, email us at mallettandmichelle@gmail.com and let us know.
Also send your complaints for Steve at that address.
Yes.
Well.
Attention, Michelle.
Attention.
And Wild Game Dinner. Have you ever been to the Wild Game Dinner?
I have been dropping my kids off to volunteer the Wild Game Dinner, and I was
You never been?
I don't. Okay. If it doesn't cluck or moo or swim in the ocean, I don't.
They don't have.
Eat it. Do they have wild cow? Do they have wild chickens?
They have quail.
I don't like gamey stuff. Like I don't like it.
So I served on the committee or whatever, the group of guys from 2004.
The pickiest person.
Picky, but also never been a hunter. But so at the Wild Game Dinner, I've had emu. I've had elk.
Is that how you say it? Emu?
Emu? How do you say it?
Emu? I don't know.
Emu? That's not right.
Or is that emu? A teenager that dresses in all black?
I think that's emo.
Emo.
Okay. I've had black bear there.
You ate
quail.
A bear?
I ate bear there. Yeah. It was very chewy. I've had quail and I've had venison. I got a venison story. So Steve Mallett never hunted before, never shot an animal. Very passive about that. I like to eat them off the shelf at HEB. Yeah. That's how I want them. Cody Reeves got me involved in the Wild Game Dinner. This was like 2004, 2005. And the week before the Wild Game Dinner, they have
Were they hazing you?
I think they were.
Okay.
They have a processing party where all the meat comes in and they set up like a butchering station inside the food hall at the church. And there's guys in there with knives and grinders and all kinds of things. That
sounds a little serial killerish.
Yes.
Totally
well, it gets worse, Michelle. It gets worse. I think Cody Reeves did this to me on purpose. This pickup truck pulls up and Cody goes, Steve, come on, help me. And they open up the back of the pickup truck and there's like 20 dead doe deers in there, venison. And they're full, they've been gutted, but they're full deer. And he goes, okay, we're going to hang these up on this tree over here. And you have to hang them, up through their back legs. And then Cody Reeves gets out a Sawzall. Do you know what a Sawzall is?
This is a horrible story.
Yes, it was horrible, Michelle. And so he goes, Steve, cut the heads and the legs off.
This is
with a Sawzall.
This is probably about the time I drove up dropping my 12-year-old to volunteer at the Methodist church as there's a massacre going on.
I didn't sleep for a week after that. These little deer hanging there with their little black eyes, and I'm cutting their heads off with a Sawzall.
Does Holly know this story?
I have told her that. I think she cries every time I tell her.
I'm going to cry. That's an awful story.
I was traumatized.
What is that serial killer show that you and I watched most recently? You on Netflix? Oh my God!
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
Yeah, where he would chop them up, and yeah, that's a little freaky.
It was freaky. Well, I never did that job again. Actually, right after that, I signed up to ask people for money.
May God be with you, and also with you.
So I never went to another processing party after that. No.
Well, along with that, I wanted to talk about the shortages that are going on. I mean, everybody's just shortages of everything. So like there's computer chip shortages, there's employee shortages, booze shortages. Booze. You know why? Because the glass bottles. It doesn't necessarily have to do about the liquid.
There's booze shortages? I'm not paying any attention to that.
Not boob shortages. Booze shortages. Oh no!
I'm not touching that.
There's a boob shortage.
No. Let's change the subject, Michelle. Go ahead.
But I was reading, and it said that it could take up until 2023 to even out. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. What I found was interesting, and I did my my research through Newsweek, Insider, because I feel like sometimes I'm just quoting stuff or citing things, and I'm not telling you where I get them. Yeah. So I don't really care if you know where I got them from. Yeah, maybe I'm making them up. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, you can check yourself. That's what you're supposed to do.
My name's on the podcast too. But employee shortages I found very interesting. There were a couple of reasons why they were naming. People want jobs that offer a little bit more flexibility. So aren't they trying to pass something that's like a 4-day work week in California?
Is that only in California?
I think it's for state employees.
Okay.
So I'm not positive. People are citing childcare issues, vaccine mandates. There was a high number of workers that actually retired, and sometimes those retirees will go back into the workforce, and they're like, screw it, I like staying home and playing with my monarch butterflies. I'm not going out there. But this one's I found very, very interesting. Not only do I think they're lazy, but no, that wasn't it. Automated hiring software has weeded out more applicants. About 10 million applicants are weeded out or filtered out by the software because either, number one, the algorithm is pinpointing that your resume isn't hitting the keywords that it wants it to. One of the other things was a 6-month work gap. Like if you had a 6-month work gap, 43% it'll pull those.
Which, geez, I bet there's a lot of people that had a 6-month work gap during COVID.
So what happened to just the good old fashioned, send me your resume, let me look it over? Everything is so automated nowadays.
Yeah. Isn't that like Indeed.com?
Yeah.
Was it Monster.com?
Yeah, so you have to trick the system, and I think there's people that help you as far as with your resume.
I think that's probably a thing, but I also think there's a lot of people out there after COVID. They're lazy, or they maybe feel like life's too short and they don't want to work.
I don't want to work.
Well,
what did we say today?
Yeah, I know. If we won the lottery, we're never stepping in here, stepping foot inside here again. Well, I think also. The government, I hope we're not going to get too political, but the government was sending people money for sitting on their you-know-what.
Yeah, I didn't get any money.
Yeah, I didn't get any either.
Because I didn't sit on my butt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, neither you and me, we worked from home for a couple weeks and then got back into the office, which, thankfully, we weren't one of those businesses that got shut down.
Well, no, like, our friends in the restaurant business or like Joe, 12 Fox, their bread and butter is the service industry. Yeah. So it's not like you can work from home. Yeah. You're serving people. So they had to think out of the box, and innovate how they were going to continue to make money.
Even if I could get a check from the government, I want to work. I want to feel worthwhile. I don't want to sit at home and get a check in my mailbox.
Although you could just write me checks. I'm okay with that.
Michelle, I think I do that already.
But you do. But along with that, so they were talking about, people are talking about the food shortages, right? And what's coming, what's going to happen. We're having the highest inflation since 1990. And there's a couple of reasons.
I think it's since earlier than that. It's been a long time.
Well, that was according to my my current.
I think it's since Carter was president. It's the highest it's been.
When was that? 78, 80?
It was
right around there.
Late 70s.
But so not only, according to Newsweek, are consumers buying too much, but companies are anticipating these shortages happening, and they're ordering and stockpiling for fear of running out. So, which I think was kind of interesting as well.
People did with toilet paper during COVID.
Yeah. Well, so here in Dripping Springs, with the Easter holiday just passed and spring has sprung, people have been scrambling or hunting, so it may be, for eggs. And the price per dozen right now has jumped to $2.89 a dozen, which is crazy. But also it's blamed in part to the bird flu that has hit over 26 states. Now, this bird flu is very rarely transmitted to humans. So don't worry, we don't have something else they're going to try to.
They're going to got to get your bird flu booster.
But the thing that is I found the most interesting is that it has created a whole breed of a backyard egg movement. And it's basically the people that are raising chickens in their backyard and selling them for $5 a dozen. I know that on Dripping Springs Neighbors, if you just go up to the little search bar and you can say eggs or whatever, people are selling them left and right. If
you've never had fresh eggs, like eggs that are just laid a couple of days before, they are so good compared to what you buy in the grocery store. I've never had anything in the grocery store like fresh eggs.
Letitia told me that you are not supposed to wash them when you get fresh eggs, right? And you're not supposed to refrigerate them, right?
They have some kind of it's not a wax,
membrane
but if you wash them and scrub them, it removes some kind of protectant on the outside that keeps them fresh longer.
I think they're just really pretty too, all the different colors of the eggs.
But it does bring up an interesting point, how like if Holly and I, if H-E-B closed down tomorrow because of some world event and all the grocery stores were shut down, how long could you feed your family from what you have at your house?
Do I have electricity?
Let's say yes.
Then I could probably feed them like just Todd and I, or if the kids had to come, Todd and I probably to the end of the year. From
that, whoa, geez, Holly and I would last a week. We'd last a week, and then it'd be rice and beans, and then probably last another week. And I think that is not smart. So we're actually going to start.
I think you should.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go like crazy, like stuff a room in my house full of food, but I'm going to have, if we can't get access to food for 3-4 months, I want to have enough food to eat.
Well, I'm just going to tell you that if you run out of food, like by Wednesday,
we're coming to your house.
Come to my house. I can't promise you're not going to have 2016 freezer burn corn dogs, but
sounds yummy.
You'll have something to eat. I have 3 huge containers of ketchup in my pantry. I'm a little bit of a food hoarder.
There's nothing wrong with that. Right? I think there are people out there that that's sort of a way of life for them. They are prepared.
But I'm not that kind of hoarder. I'm not like a rational hoarder. I'm like, I go to Trader Joe's and something looks good. I like sauces. That's what I like.
Oh,
I have
do,
lots of mustard and sauces. And
whenever we do a lunch for like a broker tour and you go to Chick-fil-A, we get tons of Chick-fil-A, and then you get so much sauce.
I like the sauce.
You do. You like
I like the sauce.
What else you got?
I thought I was going to just make fun of you for the last 10 minutes, but apparently that's
not allowing it.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Oh, because you have that button right there.
I do. I got the button, and my finger's hovering over the button.
No, I'm looking forward to visiting with our next guest.
Yeah. We're going to have Jeff and Angie Hendricks come on. They own a painting company. What's the name of their company?
Colorworld.
Colorworld. And they also have a charity that they've started in Dripping Springs. So sit tight. We're going to get them in here, and we'll be right back. This show is brought to you in part by Marsh and Mahaley Marketing Services. It's no secret that business owners often don't have time to market their brands and services. Their focus is on what they do best and serving their clients. That's where Marsh and Mahaley Marketing Group comes in. They serve you and your marketing needs. Marsh and Mahaley Marketing Group is your local launch and brand building partner right here in Dripping Springs. MarshandMahaleyMarketing.com.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
All right, welcome back. We're here with Jeff and Angie Hendricks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
When did y'all move to Dripping Springs?
Ooh, it's almost like 4 years ago to the day.
Yeah? Where'd you move from?
Golden, Colorado.
Oh, really?
Colorado.
That's a pretty big change.
But we are native Texans.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Both of you?
Well,
Both of us.
She's from the Corpus
Oh,
Christi
that's right.
area.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What brought you to Austin or Dripping Springs?
Variety of reasons.
Yeah. Well, when you leave the mountains, you can't just go back to Dallas or Corpus. So I was like, if I'm moving back to Texas, I want to move to the prettiest part of Texas.
Well, you did. Dripping Springs for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Was it work that brought you here?
Mainly family driven.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you loved Golden, Colorado.
Just another experience on the belt notch.
Yeah. And then you were, Jeff, you were in corporate America?
It was for 20 years.
Yeah. Who'd you work for?
The last 10 of it was Coca Cola. But I also worked for Blockbuster, AT&T, and JCPenney.
Blockbuster, huh?
Yes, sir. I know,
That's a blast from the
I know
past.
some folks may not know what that is.
I know kids these days won't know the joy of going over there and picking up a box and seeing an actual VHS
Isn't
tape
it crazy?
right behind it.
Well, the oddity is that actually the Blockbuster brand was bought by Dish, which is based out of Denver, which had nothing to do with why we went there. It was just kind of weird how the circle
wow.
of life comes about.
I heard that there's like one Blockbuster store still holding on. I think it's like in the north.
It's the Northwest. I think it's
yeah.
Oregon somewhere, yes. So
Yeah,
funny.
I watched a whole documentary
It's just
on
a
it.
novelty. People go in there. What is this place?
Right?
They still rent DVDs and
Well,
stuff.
I'm sure. I heard way back that I think it was Netflix was going to buy Blockbuster for some
it was
gigantic amount of money.
It was while I was there, actually. They did
Yeah.
a bunch of due diligence, and wisely they didn't.
Oh, so Netflix decided not to buy it. It
Correct.
wasn't that Blockbuster said, "Nah, we're good. We like our business model."
Right.
Imagine how many streaming services are out there now.
Ugh.
It's like there's just way too many.
Oh, I know.
And you have all these fake email accounts too, Steve, so you can get all the.
I do.
Stop using my
oh,
email accounts because I
You get a
can't use them.
6-month free
6
trial.
months.
I'll make up a new email address.
I like it.
What did you do at Coca Cola?
I was I'm one of the few that actually went to school for what I did. So I was in marketing the entire time.
Oh,
So we lived in Dallas and Denver while I did it, and was on teams across the U.S. But 20 years was good for it.
and that was enough.
That's
the best
right.
part was when he did the sports marketing, because you either got
Oh.
like really crummy seats or it was like VIP everything.
But you got seats either way.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Angie, you're a teacher?
Yes, sir. 21 years.
Yeah. Are you teaching here at Dripping?
Oh, I'm in Lake Travis.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you mentioned early on that you have a new opportunity starting this summer. Are you ready to roll that out?
Yeah, I am. I am. The past couple of years in teaching have been a little rough.
Oh, I bet.
Why is that?
But, I wanted to spend some time with my kids and take a step back after 21 years, and just felt like being here and missing out on lots of things, and helping with the businesses that we have. I am taking on a role with Best Version Media, and we will be rolling out Neighbors of Dripping Springs magazine.
Oh,
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yes.
Is that's a brand new thing? That's not,
There is not one
'cause
for
there's
Dripping
been
Springs.
yeah, there's been some magazines in the past, and Outlook is still around, right?
I don't.
But this will be
Yeah.
like a real magazine, like
Glossy color.
Yes.
It's neighborhood driven, right?
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I think Belterra and High Point has their own right now, but the
Yeah.
actual town of Dripping Springs does not.
cool.
Interesting. Well, that's
And what's your role going to be?
Publisher.
ooh, exciting.
Very exciting. I'm very nervous, but I'm ready for a new challenge.
Well, we look forward to seeing where that takes you.
That's a pretty big jump from teaching to that.
Well, I figure if I can sell math to 8th graders for 21 years, I can pretty much do anything.
You pretty much sell anything.
Right.
But I'm ready to be part of the community. I feel like I haven't gotten to be as part of the community,
Yeah.
except for all the sports and stuff we do.
Yeah.
That
And then
already.
you mentioned businesses. So one of the businesses is Colorworld
Yes, sir.
Housepainting. Is that?
That's right.
Yeah. And when did you start? It's a franchise,
It's
right?
a franchise. Yep. We launched in 2019. So like.
just smack dab right in the middle of COVID. That's great timing.
6 months before COVID
Yeah.
hit. That was awesome. But we've powered through and we're standing on our own. So excited to be here.
What were the biggest challenges you had when COVID hit?
Oh, man. I mean, there's a laundry list of pages, really. Mainly for us, folks didn't want you coming in or around their house, which with our business model is pretty key to,
Yeah,
to
no
be able to get
kidding.
an estimate
You can't
up.
paint from the curb.
Right. So I would say from March to September of 2020 was a really down time for us, I'll be honest.
I think it was for a lot of people.
Right.
That's where a lot of DIYers came about, a lot of home projects. And Home Depot and Lowe's.
How much of what you do is fixing stuff that people mess up because they saw something on TV?
It's odd. Yeah, some of it does, or we'll get calls from people that went with somebody else and then want us to come back and fix it and whatnot. So, but the majority of folks are really having to do it mainly because of like the exterior of your home, right? 100-degree weather beating down on your outside paneling. It does a job on it for sure.
What kind of mistakes do you see people making with painting? Like you're just talking about the outside of their house. What kind of mistakes do you see people make on a regular basis?
Latex over enamel.
It's really more design choices than it is like mechanical errors. Yeah, like they'll see a hue that they like at the store, and then they get home and start doing it, and then they're really upset. So we come in, have a color consultation, make everybody happy, and go on with it.
What about quality of paint?
Quality of paint does make a difference, but it's up to the consumer, right, as to what they're wanting to do. You don't need to spend $50 on a gallon of paint if you've got a $300,000 house. Now, if you got a $2 million house that overlooks the lake, then maybe that's a discussion.
Does the more expensive paint last longer though?
So the UVs
a little bit, and it's just the quality and the professionalism and how it appears in the end.
Yeah.
So were you having some supply chain issues as far as getting? I know that there's some of our design jobs that when I was consulting our clients having some real issues getting some of the hues, and just even Sherwin-Williams, those poor guys. I think one day I traveled to 3 different Sherwin-Williams to get
and then she found the paint we needed, and she camped out there so they wouldn't sell it.
Yeah, somebody tried to steal it, so I had to slash their tires and take it.
You're funny. That is a common occurrence, actually. For some projects, we're having to go to 3 and 4 stores just to piece together what is needed, but it's kind of the sign of the times, I guess.
Yeah.
What drew you to get into that business in the first place?
Very different, right?
Yeah.
What really brought me in was kind of the different revenue streams, because we not only do painting, but we can do fix the carpentry work on the outside of the house. We can do drywall repair inside. We do quite a bit of business in gutter installation as well. And then when Santa Claus comes to town, we hang Christmas lights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys did all that.
Yeah, so that was kind of the full draw, is that you kind of have something that when it's slower in one part of the year, you can kind of piece in with something else.
So the name's a little deceiving.
It is, right? So we've got different logos and whatnot that we'll bring about when it comes time to do so. But yeah, holiday lighting is it's a different beast, I'll be honest.
That's big business here in Dripping.
Yeah, it is. Is that something that the franchise you bought into does? That's part of their plan?
It is. And then mainly because of what you see, right? When you get to about Halloween, folks just really don't want you in or around their house. They're decorating. It doesn't make sense. So why not get up on top of their house and do something else?
You already have the scaffolding and everything else too, so...
Tell us a little bit about, some of our listeners may not understand how a franchise works. Tell us about that.
It's so this was a young brand. We were actually the 5th franchisee in all of the U.S. To do so. And so that was a little over 3 years ago, 4 years ago, probably, when I started researching. So basically you pay a licensing fee to gain your territories, and then you pay a royalty each month based on your sales.
On a monthly basis?
Yes, sir. That's through a database they have access to, so it's pretty hard to get around.
What else do they give you for that licensing fee?
You get their expertise in 25 years of doing this. There's a whole marketing team, as we kind of talked about, with the website that oversees things, and just coaching throughout the way, as having access to them. So if you learn something, you come across something that you really haven't dealt with, you have somebody there who really has lived it quite a bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What's the best part of you owning your own business, coming from the corporate world?
So many things. Yeah, but honestly, the corporate world really set me up for this, right? So the best thing, I'm no longer on a plane. I'm no longer on calls that don't go anywhere, and I'm able to set my schedule the way that I want. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Angie was talking about. I haven't missed a practice since then. I haven't missed a game. I haven't missed anything that may or may not seem like it's relevant or of significance, but someday when you look back, I think we'll really be glad that we were there.
Quality of life right now.
And one of the things he's not telling you is that because I'm gone from 7:30 in the morning to almost 5 o'clock, because I'm teach in Bee Cave is that he's also Mr. Mom. So he's hauling the boys around,
That's
from
right.
practice to practice. So he works all day, and then he takes them to school in the morning. He's hauling them around in the afternoon. So, I just feel like I want to contribute more. So.
And are they
great.
at the middle school, high school, middle school?
One's at Walnut, one's at the middle school.
And are they baseball? What sports are they?
Baseball,
Everything.
soccer, everything athletics.
Everything in between, yes.
Yep.
But they play select baseball.
Busy
and
kids stay out of
select
trouble.
soccer.
That's what I say.
That's what I said.
That's when I got into trouble. Right?
Yeah.
That's when it started slowing down.
That's what paid for my college. So
Yeah.
I'm-
And Angie, you help out with marketing. Is that what you do with the some?
He does call on me for certain things, creative ideas, or he'll say he wants to do something, and I'll be like, oh, we should do this, this, and this. And I never thought of myself as a marketer, but,
Yeah.
I guess it's just kind of natural a little bit. But one of the things I'm really part of is we give a gift to every single person that does business
Oh, wow.
with us. And the gift that I've created is all local vendors.
Oh, very
So I make
cool.
a gift box of all local vendors. It's got Salt Lick seasoning. It's got jam and jelly from New Canaan. And then it's got 2 shots of vodka.
Ooh.
I'm getting the room painted.
Some local honey, and then it's got a bar of soap made in the shape of Texas
very
from a
cool.
soap lady
Yeah, it's really
that
cool.
I package all together.
Yeah.
And I see that you were also just in the running for the Best of Dripping Springs for both commercial and residential lighting categories.
We're very honored to be a part of that.
Well, look at that. Congratulations. And also tell me about, I'm trying to find what it's called, the Painting the Town Proud.
Paint the town proud.
Yes, that's actually my most favorite part of the month, in all honesty. So I can't take full credit for it. Obviously, we've got some marketing partners that help us out here locally, too. They may or may not be sponsoring the show. And
Dee and Dana, Marcia and Haley. Yeah.
we wanted. I knew something with our involvement with the community that we wanted to be able to highlight somebody each month, and specifically someone that's doing something that folks may not be aware of that they're doing. And so we have a process for nominations from folks. We're pretty active in the area, so we kind of get an idea of who's doing it, and it really gives us a chance. It's not for us as the brand, it's really to highlight them and spotlight all the great things that they're doing for our local community, and folks can see and share their story about it.
How do you, so somebody nominates them? How do you choose the people?
We've put out certain posts out there, like specifically Martin, for nominations, because obviously we want to have folks that are relevant, and we don't want to just be sitting here and coming up with them on our own. We'd rather hear what folks see and do on their own throughout the community. So we're always open for suggestions and whatnot. We'll put out a post every once in a while just to get some further ideas. But it's just a really humbling experience to get to sit down with these folks, hear the full story, and then try to share it out so that other folks are aware of exactly what they're doing.
This town is chock full of people that do things in the background that you don't even know about. They're not posting it on social media, but they're giving of their time and expertise all over the place. It's one of the things I love about Dripping Springs.
And I think that considering you guys have only been here 4 years, you're relatively new residents to Dripping Springs.
Correct.
You've kind of put your footprint, your stamp on Dripping Springs, and you're getting very, very similar to kind of like what we're doing is you're getting to know your neighbors on more of a personal level, but you're also recognizing them for that. And I applaud you for that. Congratulations.
Thank you. It means a lot to us.
That's really neat.
So, Jeff, you put on our little information sheet, you barely graduated from Texas A&M.
That's correct. Now,
What does that mean?
It's not a whoop, it's like a whoop.
Yeah.
It's more like, thank you, Mr. Hendricks. You made it. No, I mean, I kid myself and whatnot. But yes, it was I had a good time while I was at
Oh,
school.
yeah.
And you're also a home brewer. Did you start that in Colorado? Did you learn how to do that in the Rocky Mountains?
It's one of those things in life where you weren't really expecting it. So before Denver, we lived in Dallas area, and Angie taught in Richardson, and they had this similar to what all schools do, right? They have these auction nights and whatnot, and trying to raise money for the school. And one was for a gentleman that was a local home brewer, that if you won the bid, you get to go over there, brew the batch with them, and then keep the proceeds of all the
Drink
beer.
while you're brewing.
Oh, that's
He made German food for us.
It was really tough to win that one, yes. But actually, when I saw his process, we actually requested to go back. We did another batch with him. And then when we moved to Golden, my neighbor, literally like within the first week we were there, I was like, dude, you've got a bunch of
because it just comes out of the tap there in Golden, Colorado.
Oh,
You
yeah,
just
that's
open it
right.
and it comes out.
You can smell it because that's where Coors is based.
Yes, we were not far from Coors, only
Right.
about a mile.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, so it was nice. But actually, so my other neighbor, his wife, finally made him get rid of all his toys, and so he sold me all his brewing equipment, and so I've been doing it on my own since we got here, pretty regularly. It takes a good 4 to 5 hours of time just to initially start the process, and with 2 kids and everything going on, there's
It's
not a lot of 4 to 5 hours.
Is it
of
stinky?
Stinky.
Is it really?
It's really stinky.
What-
It
Well, it
goes
depends on
away.
what you're brewing, too.
Yeah. What makes it smell bad?
Wort.
It's before beer becomes beer, when you're brewing it, it's called wort, and it's got a very
a wart.
wort,
Yeah.
WORT. So
A wart. Okay.
that essentially means it's beer without yeast and carbonation.
Oh,
So, and that part of it does stink pretty good, and that's when you go see and you're at a brewery or whatnot. When you smell stuff, that's what it is.
huh. Interesting. How's your beer taste?
So far, so good.
He's never had a bad batch.
No.
And when we
Really?
have people come over, we have extra beer because one of the places he didn't tell you he worked for was Budweiser.
Yeah, I did.
He
Oh.
worked for Budweiser for a little bit. And so we had all this extra beer at our house. And I'm always telling people, come over, take beer,
Yeah.
please. We
Get rid
have
of it.
too much beer.
They just give you free beer, huh?
Well, a lot of sampling initiatives. You
yeah.
always buy too much to give credit to the retailer, so you got to take it home with you.
Yeah, might as well.
Right.
But everybody just wants his beer. So
Right.
That's good. We just had Joe Hogue from 12 Fox on a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Have you ever met him?
Yeah. No. I don't know if we met him physically, but we've spent
You need to
time
go
out
out there. Go
Yeah.
out there and just find Joe, and he'll tell you all about
right.
it. He'll even take you back to the tap room, I'm sure.
I would love it.
the Suds Monkey guy and him
Yeah,
talked for
yeah.
quite
The
a
head
while.
brewer. So at the Calaterra 5K last year, they were out there, and so
He's like, I'll give you all of my stuff. And I'm like,
yeah, he's got a big tank system waiting for me. I just have to get approval from the
Wow.
boss. Here.
So I also see that you guys are a boxer household. You have boxer puppies.
No,
How
we
many?
do. So, well,
If you have to sit and count,
I was
that's
going to say,
No,
geez.
it's overtime.
We're on
We're boxer 4, yes.
Boxer 4.
but not like total. This is your fourth boxer.
This is our fourth.
Right.
Okay.
We had one, and then she cried and cried and cried.
Oh,
And because she and her brother were the last 2. And so we ended up calling the boxer rescue because we always get them from a rescue. And they still had her brother. And as soon as he showed up, she never cried again.
Yes,
Aw.
and that was pre-kids too.
That was
so
pre-kids. Those were our first 2 babies.
That's right.
I just saw something yesterday that says house plants are the new pets and pets are the new children. And as an empty nester, I can totally attest that is.
And what are
that's true.
children the new?
Like, they're out of the house now.
yeah.
They're an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
They are. My daughter's an expensive little hobby.
How did you guys meet Dee and Dana?
Yeah, through the chamber.
Okay.
So we've been members since we launched, and Dee was on the 101 board, kind of giving you the down and dirty, and it didn't like take off from there. It's been over time. Actually, I saw Dee and Dana both at the 5K last year, and that's about when we kind of struck up the relationship. Was from there.
Well, I know that you left the corporate world so you could have more family time and get involved in Colorworld and retiring from teacher. But what do you wish you had more time to do even now?
Travel.
Easy.
So if you had more time to travel, what would be your dream vacation?
Ooh, Mama, you first.
Mhm. I don't know. I miss
Like-
the mountains. I miss the beach.
So if we said we're writing the check, you can go anywhere in the world you want, where would you go?
I've always wanted to go to like Egypt, but just because I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But now I kind of want to go to Croatia.
Really?
Oh,
Greece.
gosh. Oh, yes.
Is it really
Beautiful.
pretty?
Beautiful.
I do. I want to go to Croatia, too.
or the Polynesian islands.
Oh, I would
I've
like
always
that.
wanted
That's
to go to
easy.
Bora Bora. I want the tiki hut on
Holly
the
and I want
water.
to. Yeah, Holly and I want to go
That's
to Bora
supposed to
Bora.
be. That's
Yeah.
supposed to be our 25th anniversary.
It is.
How long y'all been married? Oh,
05.
05. 17?
17. It'll
I
be
was gonna
17
wait.
in a couple
Steve,
minutes.
what's 05?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
It's math.
I wasn't going to bail you out on that,
I was
Michelle.
gonna do like this.
I was just going to sit here and let you do that.
Stu.
You didn't answer the question, Jeff. What's your dream
Oh,
vacation?
man. We share similar loves for the beach and the mountains, but if I could ski the Swiss Alps, that would definitely check
Oh,
big
that
box.
sounds good too. Where would you go, Michelle? Dream vacation.
George Clooney's Italian villa.
Ah. All right.
Is George there or not?
I don't know. I always say that's how I'm going to go out, is like scaling George Clooney's villa.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
And where about you? What about you?
I would like to go to Australia. That's on my
Yeah.
list.
And the M&M factory.
Yes.
There you go.
And I grew up in Spain, and when I was born in Scotland, grew up in Spain, and I would like to go back to Spain to see if my memory is what reality is.
very
You know
cool.
how when you love someplace, because I haven't been there 40 years,
Sure.
I wonder if it really looks like what I
you
remember.
remember.
Interesting.
I think the world has gotten a lot smaller now. Like I there's so many places I want to go, and I just kind of look at their restrictions and such and
Right.
what they have in place, and I'm like, that's off my bucket list right now until the world gets semi back to normal.
Well, some of those got lifted, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
praise,
Right.
praise. Yes.
Are you guys still in your paint business, still seeing people when you go to their houses like really wigged out?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
There will be some that would call and said, request that everybody have a mask and whatnot, but it's been a while since we've seen that, which I think all of us are happy to see.
What are the biggest challenges you're running into right now with the current economy?
Yeah, I mean, it's, a lot of our projects are semi-pricey, right? And a lot of them are for aesthetic purposes only too. So folks, getting excited about a project and then putting it on the back burner.
It's not really all aesthetic though, because if you don't paint your house, the exterior of your house on a regular basis, it gets expensive.
And that HOA will get pissed off.
does.
Well, it's not only
Yeah.
that. You start getting trim rotting and things falling off
You're
the
correct,
house.
but a lot of people, you'd be surprised how much they turn a blind eye to that if you don't have somebody else, like you said, an HOA that's overseeing a lot of it. So yeah, we try to get to it before that, right? It's great if we can go in and put new wood and everything's good to go and whatnot,
Yeah.
but we want to catch it before that too.
How about help? How about guys to do the
That's
work?
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in this industry, you can't have enough of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's very fickle. It's unfortunate where you take chances on folks and they put their best foot forward and then renege. It makes you wonder how those folks actually survive.
I always think it's a shame sometimes when we walk through houses and I do the staging consult about getting their house ready to sell.
Sure.
And, we've meant to paint this for years and we've meant to fix this for years. And now they're doing it and they're selling it and they didn't get a chance to actually enjoy
Didn't
it.
get to enjoy it. I agree.
We've done that a couple of times.
Yeah. So it's
I'm like, why didn't we do this earlier?
and I know
Right.
like we're running across a lot of the old world designs that are kind of going out. And I know that red is one of the hardest colors to also paint and cover.
Right.
And that's one of the first things I walk into a house. I zero in on that red. I'm like, if I could paint everything white all the time, I would paint everything.
What's that? There's another color you like that's got a little tint of gray.
Well, the standard, the gold standard right now is the Sherwin-Williams agreeable gray. That's like
Agreeable gray.
That is
I just love the name of
because
that.
it's such
Agreeable gray.
It's the perfect grayish,
It was. And then 2021
Yes.
was Alabaster was color of the
alabaster,
year. Yeah.
and I like
Is that like a stark white alabaster?
It's like a little.
it has a little bit
muted,
of
yeah.
a little bit of gray. It depends on the light. You can see a little bit of green, a little bit of
Yeah.
gray. I
Right.
like pure white by Sherwin-Williams. That's
Sure.
my favorite color.
I mean, white opens up light and lets you
Low
see the
ceilings.
space, right?
So if I called you and I said, hey, I need you to come over. I need you to give me a bid. I want you to paint the exterior of my house pink and white.
Yep.
And I want you to paint the interior red and green.
Sure.
Do you just do it?
We would offer up a consultation if you like, but at the end of the day, you're the boss that writes the check, and whatever color you want is what we're
do
going
you do
with.
a lot of
Surprisingly not.
That's me.
We've done some extreme things where you walk over and you're like, oh, wow, I hope this is not just a straight repaint of the same thing, and how you can transform and change the space and everything that goes
I think
with it.
also there's a big misconception that people think, oh, I've got the paint in the garage,
Right.
and they don't understand that the sunlight and the pictures and everything else has faded that paint inside. And then also paint sours.
Yes.
It does. And if you really look at it on paper, like paint is usually 15 to 20% of the cost. So it's very low. Really, you're paying for a lot of the labor. So why would you not invest in new materials?
Yeah. That's a good point.
What's the average, because you were saying it's a pricey thing, what's the average kind of price that people say for a couple
room.
1,000 square foot house on the exterior? I guess it matters because some have rock and some are all hardy plank.
Exterior is different, right? People always want to say, hey, can you give me a ballpark? And I'm like, no, I really can't on the exterior. Interior, you can kind of give them a price per square foot that usually works out if they end up painting everything from head to toe. But that's usually what we run up against is folks, well, just tell me a ballpark about it. And be like, your home is very unique, right? You may have harding, you may have siding, you may have rock, like you said, a stone, whatever the case. That cuts down on the cost of the project because obviously you're not going to paint that.
How are you feeling about some of those current trends right now of painting the brick, the German schmears, those kind of things? Is that stuff that you're trying to discourage? I know painted brick is big right now.
It really is.
But in this Texas sun,
right,
it's going to flake, and that's definitely a maintenance issue.
Brick will paint all day long because it does make an impact. When you look at other porous substances, we won't touch it, and a lot of our competitors won't either, just because of what you described. It never sticks. It doesn't look correct, and then everybody's upset.
Other porous surfaces like rock,
limestone specifically is a big one. Yeah.
Don't we have a before and after of one of the brick houses?
There was a big one we did. It's actually here in Dripping Springs.
Website?
It's really. It makes a huge difference, especially if you have super dark brick and you're wanting to lighten it up.
Get rid of that red brick.
Yeah, correct.
So you do a consultation. So if somebody calls you and says, I need to paint the exterior of my house, but I don't know what color.
Yep.
You suggest colors, or how do you show them what it might look like?
If they're really at a crossroads and can't figure it out, we have a couple design consultants that we just cover the cost for to send them out there. It's more their speed. We're about kind of turning and burning and taking care of everything, but actually getting someone that does professionally some type of interior design or exterior, it's worth the fee to me to make sure that they're happy before we move forward. Yeah.
Have you ever painted somebody's house and they didn't like the color?
No, not really the color. We've had, it's a business, right?
Yeah.
I just wrote a check yesterday for something that didn't work out in our favor that we didn't get a judgment for. And so, but I would say that that's less than 1% of the time, right?
Yeah,
the majority of folks.
It's the cost of doing business sometimes, especially everybody's so litigious nowadays. So
it was frustrating.
Yeah.
But no, most of the time, if something's wrong, especially if it's craftsmanship, we're going to be back out there making sure everybody's happy.
Yeah. We had a house that the entire interior needed painted, and Michelle went over, and I think you recommended agreeable gray, and at the last minute the seller decided that she didn't like that color, even though we were selling the house and they didn't have to live there, and she changed it to what did you call it, buttery poop yellow?
Oh my.
Baby poop brown.
That's what it was. Well, it was very yellow. And Michelle and I walked in and we were like, this is not the color we said.
Yeah.
And we ended up selling it, but I just thought it was funny that she didn't go with the neutral color.
Interesting.
It is frustrating sometimes. If you are putting that investment in, take advice from somebody that has a design background, that knows what they're talking about, and not you're trying to sell to the masses. But if you're living there, and you want to paint an accent wall purple, then paint that accent wall purple, but know that when it comes time to sell,
nobody wants grimace on the walls, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So what do you have so many irons in the fire. You have a lot of things going on in the community with your family, with kiddos and businesses.
Yeah.
What do you hope to achieve next? What do you look next?
Well, you're the one taking the biggest leap here.
Yeah. What's the name of the magazine again?
It's going to be Neighbors of Dripping Springs.
Neighbors of Dripping Springs. I love that.
Well, I'm just hoping to get out there and, like I said, meet a lot of the neighbors and just being able to showcase those local families in the magazine. That's one of the things I feel like Dripping Springs might be missing is, getting to see all of the, getting sponsors for pages for sports, local sports, DSYSA.
Now, do they have to be Dripping Springs proper? Can you be in that ETJ? Oh,
these two will decide as to who gets it.
We actually do get a choice.
A creative choice.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of like where I'm headed, Is it going to take a little bit of work? Yes, but I'm down for it. I've never turned down a hard job. It's, it's just getting that new rhythm down.
Yeah.
So,
the reason you're starting that is the reason we started this podcast, because we've met so many really fascinating, interesting people here in Dripping Springs, and we just want to hear their story, just like we heard your story.
Well, he actually brought it up at dinner one night. We try to do a Friday night date night with just us.
Smart.
And we try to go to a different venue every night in the surrounding Dripping Springs area just to, give us our time.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard, sometimes because there's not a ton around here.
Yeah.
But, and he brought up one night he brought up, what if I told you you could retire this year? He's like, I've been waiting for this because I know you're just going to run with it. I went, okay.
Yeah. Sign me up.
It was a pretty easy sell.
It was a pretty easy sell. And then about 2 weeks later, because he knows that's what he has to kind of do with me, he said, so we've gotten a couple of offers from businesses to try things. And he said a couple of things. And I said, this magazine thing is kind of interesting to me. People would get to know who I am, and not just know him, and him going, oh, and Angie too,
Well,
so they'll get to know me. And
that's what they say when they see me. Oh, and Steve too.
Yeah.
I've learned to live with it.
Either or. Well, she brings up a valid point, right? I've been able to go to the coffee connectors and the luncheons with the chamber and whatnot and get to mix and mingle with folks. And then being part of the leadership, Dripping Springs just opened up a myriad of doors for new opportunities and folks to meet as well too. So I think it's going to be a great chance for her to do the same.
Well, which I think the chance kind of jumped in my lap. It just happened. Like, it was weird though, the timing of it, but I wouldn't have had those chances if he hadn't done some of the groundwork behind it.
Well, we look forward to having a stack over here and collaborating with that and seeing who you highlight.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be the feature family one.
Steve and Michelle family.
Yeah. Oops. No. That won't work, Michelle. Well, Jeff and Angie Hendricks, thank you so much for coming on. We really enjoyed this time with you both.
It's been an honor. Thanks for thinking of us.
Well, thanks. And we'll talk to everybody else soon.
This show is brought to you by Marsha Mahaley Marketing Group. No branding for your brand, no traffic for your website, no social for your social media. Dee Marsh and Dana Mahaley, owners of Marsha Mahaley Marketing Group, understand. They offer customized marketing services to fit your unique needs. And they're local. MarshaMahaleyMarketing.com.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Thanks for listening.
If you have comments or feedback, please email us at mallettandmichelle@gmail.com.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mallett and Michelle.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Please follow us and leave a review.
Thanks again for listening.